我が艦の重大責任が搭乗員に放送されたとき、When our important mission was announced to the crew, I knew they were prepared to fight. But each man knew that the battle to eat or to be eaten had begun.
In 1942, Yahashi Tanabe was a lieutenant commander and the skipper of the Japanese submarine I-168. Today, he manages a small paper products factory in Japan. In 1942, George T. Edwards was a sailor in the United States Navy, assigned to the carrier Yorktown. He lives today in Southern California and runs a charter boat service.
You might say you're damn worried or scared, but when the fighting starts, you lose that tense feeling. Once the game starts, you're in pretty good shape.
Off the island of Midway, the lives of Yahashi Tanabe and George Edwards came together for a brief moment. Two fighting men, one Japanese, one American, relived that moment in history. I'm Jim Bishop. For the Japanese, the capture of Midway Island is the whole point of their second great offensive. They have already blasted Pearl Harbor, the main link in the chain of Hawaiian islands. Now they are about to step on the end of the chain, Midway. But the planned attack on Midway has an even bigger purpose. It is the Japanese bait to lure what is left of the American Navy into one final battle. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, Commander-in-Chief of the Japanese Combined Fleet, is convinced that Japan must win the war within the first year or lose it later. He is also certain that if he can destroy the American fleet in a decisive battle, the war is won. The Japanese assume that the American fleet will be drawn out to defend Midway Island, the guardian outpost of Hawaii. The objectives call for a diversionary attack on the Aleutians, the invasion of Midway, and luring the American fleet into battle. A powerful force is hastily assembled at ports in and around Japan. Spearheading this fleet is an advanced expeditionary force of submarines. Late in May, submarine I-168 heads eastward. In command is a 37-year-old graduate of the Japanese Naval Academy, Commander Yahashi Tanabe.
We are assigned a very important mission. Our orders read, the combined fleet will attempt to capture the island of Midway as of June 6. Submarine I-168 shall proceed secretly to the vicinity of Midway to observe and report all enemy movements. We will be near Midway when the troops land. According to the basic plan, we are to see no action.
American strategy is based on the assumption that Japan has chosen Midway as a target. This has been confirmed by American cryptologists who have broken the Japanese Purple Code. With the advantage of knowing the Japanese plans, Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz sets the trap. Midway Island is strengthened with bombers. After the Japanese have been located by the land-based Midway forces, they are to be hit by planes from the hidden American carriers. Task Force 16, comprising the last two operational carriers, Hornet and Enterprise, are called north at top speed. The day before the American force sails, the carrier Yorktown, damaged in the Coral Sea, limps into Pearl Harbor. Aboard the Yorktown since 1939 is Seaman George Edwards, assigned to Torpedo Squadron 5.
We've been at sea 104 days this time, and we're returning with quite a bit of damage. The 1,000-pounder went clear through the third deck and exploded. When we move into the yards, there is a lot of scuttlebutt about this thing with Midway. Whatever we might be thinking, everybody just bears a hand. Nobody leaves the ship, not even the old man.
It is estimated that repairs will take 90 days, but with the battle imminent, 1,400 workers complete the job in 2 days. The hastily repaired Yorktown leads a second task force to sea. May 31st, the American task forces reach Point Luck, a position 300 miles northeast of Midway. The officers and men are told an attack for the purpose of capturing Midway is expected. The successful conclusion of the operation now commencing will be of great value to our country.
We move up very close to the mouth of the bay and make observations of the land installation and the movement of the troops. It appears that the enemy is patrolling the neighboring seas.
June 3rd, a lone Catalina bomber from Midway spots the Japanese invasion transports. The report is radioed in and a flight of B-17s are ordered out. First encounters caused little damage among the Japanese fleet. At 4:30 a.m. June 4th, the Japanese launched their attack against the Midway Atoll, only 240 miles distant. The first wave of planes leaves in rapid succession from the flight decks of Kaga, Hiryu, Soryu, and Akagi. The Battle of Midway has begun. Although forewarned of the raid, 26 Marine fighters are no match for the superior Zeros. 24 are shot down or badly damaged.
My crew grows more and more excited as I describe the action to them. Shouts of joy echo throughout the submarine.
The attack lasts only 20 minutes. It has wrecked most of the Marine facilities, but causes only minor damage to the airstrips. The Japanese conclude that Midway requires one more strike before invasion. June 4th, 7 a.m. Torpedo planes crowd the flight decks of the 4 Japanese carriers. With the report indicating Midway needs a second pounding, bombs are ordered substituted for torpedoes. At this very moment, the first American planes take off against the unsuspecting Japanese. 28 minutes later, a Japanese scout plane reports 2 American warships 200 miles from Midway. Later, a second report is received, one that surprises the Japanese commanders. The American forces are accompanied by an aircraft carrier. While the Japanese hesitate, American torpedo planes arrive and attack.
Mayday, mayday. I'm ditching.
They got Sherman.
Cover the people.
Bail out.
Mother
The
carrier.
wingman's
You
done.
can hear the whole battle over the ship's PA system. You can hear the guys talking about what plane they're in. The whole thing. It's almost like being there with them, especially when you know the guys personally. You hear the communications from one plane to another.
2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Watch it.
Control panel.
The Japanese carriers are attacked. The American bombers are without the protection of fighters. Of the 15 planes from Hornet, all are shot down. Of the 12 Yorktown torpedo planes, 10 are lost. Of the 14 planes from Enterprise, only 4 survive. The Japanese quickly prepare their counterattack. At this moment, dive bombers from Enterprise and Hornet make their attack. They have approached the target unopposed, as the Japanese fighters have not had time to regain altitude from the torpedo attack. Akagi is hit, and bombs and ammunition aboard explode. Bombs hit Kaga, knocking out the bridge and penetrating the hangars. The third Japanese carrier, Soryu, is left a blazing inferno. Within a matter of minutes, a handful of American pilots have knocked out 3 Japanese aircraft carriers. Now, only one carrier, Hiryu, is left. Rear Admiral Yamaguchi of Hiryu immediately orders a strike against the American carriers. Zeros and dive bombers from Hiryu follow the returning American planes to the Yorktown.
They're getting closer. You feel tense. There's quite a strain in your stomach. Your mouth gets dry, and then you see them. Yorktown has caught fire in her stack, and they secured the boilers. knocked in the side and hard hit. The word comes through to abandon ship. I'm kind of stunned. I never thought I'd have to leave under these conditions. And I say to one of my shipmates, well, we're going to have to swim for it now.
p.m. American planes from Enterprise come in out of the sun and attack. Four direct hits are scored, and Hiryu was out of action. Admiral Yamamoto orders a general retreat.
Frightening news has come to us over our radio antenna. The Soryu and Kaga have been sunk. Also, the Akagi and Hiryu. When I hear this news, a mixture of anger, disappointment, and fighting spirit boils within me. I have received order. It says, as a result of the attack of our Air Force, a Yorktown-sized carrier is afloat at a point approximately 150 miles northeast of Midway. Submarine I-168 shall move immediately to capture or sink it.
I volunteered for the damage control party, and I'm back on board, seeing what I can do to get her back to Pearl. The Hammond stays alongside to furnish power and necessary equipment. The first thing we do is load our guns and get everything ready in case of another attack. The next thing we do is bury our dead. The old man gives the orders to fire the boilers. We'll get back to Pearl under our own power if we have to burn all the furniture in the officers' quarters.
My lookout sights the Yorktown. His voice is shaking with joy. Sees a black shape on the horizon. Inside the I-168 is limited to only the most essential ones. I fear to create sounds which American detectors might pick up, but I have privately decided that the enemy's equipment is not very sensitive. This gives me confidence as the range shortens. lower the periscope. The torpedo's wake will soon indicate their course. If the I-168 is to die, I at least want the satisfaction of seeing that our target has been hit. We must succeed. There will be no second chance.
All of a sudden, the Hammond starts firing up the water. I look down and see 10 fingers of torpedo wakes. They're coming right at us. I'm in the water, I'm in pain. The Hammond is cut in two. The depth charges from her decks are exploding in the water. Thank God I'm shielded by the Yorktown.
I order, take her down to 200 feet and full speed ahead.
Throughout the night, American destroyers hunt the submarine without success. It is evident that the Yorktown is doomed. At 6 a.m. on June 7th, she begins to sink.
They have closed the log officially. It is exactly 6 months to the day and the hour when Pearl Harbor was attacked. I'm on a destroyer nearby. There's a man next to me. He spent 30 years in the Navy. He's looking away from the Yorktown and asked me to let him know when she goes down. I think I see tears in his eyes. I thought I was the only one that felt that way.
My heart is filled with a sense of appreciation for my crew. Truly, everyone did well. I feel the kind thoughts of the crew soak throughout my body. I order the Chief Communications Officer to wire the combined fleet. I sank the Yorktown.
Following the Battle of Midway, Commander Yahachi Tanabe returns to Japan a hero. He will survive campaigns at Guadalcanal and the Solomons. Seaman Edwards, wounded after the sinking of the Yorktown, will later participate in 2 Pacific invasions. VJ Day will find him at Yokohama Harbor. At Midway, the Japanese suffered a naval disaster. It was evident that the balance of power in the Pacific had swung suddenly in favor of the Americans. Midway would be known as the battle that marked the turning of the tide in the Pacific War.